Oh my god, so I heard this like really weird noise in my car last night. When I was driving home. And it was like some strange gas cap was like wedged in here. Like, I was mind blown. I was like, this thing. Okay, get out of here. I'm Emily O'Brien.
I was going to introduce you.
Oh.
Emily O'Brien for being here with me.
Emily, she has the most incredible stories.
What was that like?
Perfect.
How the hell are we at? Perfect. Okay. And you're gonna go this way. Okay. And I'll let Lori know you're on the way out. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Oh, that's what this is legit. My lawyer's building.
This is fancy.
I got in so many fights with my, not like fights, but like, that was a rough patch with my lawyer. I don't know like how the court system works. Like everything pisses you off because it takes so long.
That makes sense.
And when you're already like irritable because you've been like fucked over, yeah. You fucked yourself over. Hi. How are you? Good. How are you? Good. Oh, glad you could make it. Yes.
We found parking and everything. Nice to meet you. You can have a few minutes to set up here.
Cool.
And then you'll be at the front.
Awesome.
Okay. Can I get you water, coffee?
Water would be good. Okay. I'll say no because then I'll get too jittery.
Yeah. All right.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, I'm Danielle. I'm the campus director.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks so much for doing this today.
Oh, of course, I'm excited.
Good. I'm glad. I hope we have a good turnout. I know that there's one full class that is attending.
Sweet.
And hopefully we'll have a few more trickle out. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
It's really nice to meet you.
You too.
Is there anything you need for the presentation?
No, I usually just talk, honestly.
Okay, awesome. I'll grab you a bottle of water as well.
Thank you.
Then, of course, if you want to stop popcorn, there's a lunch hour.
Okay, cool.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, thanks, Gloria.
Thank you.
I carry popcorn with me everywhere.
My car, there's no room for boys in my car.
Well, sometimes.
So I'll let you get set up soon so we can get into class.
Yeah, debit and credit, I take too.
That's great.
Me and Lola go in Africa together.
Is this so cool? What is that?
I'm in here if you need me.
Thank you. Bagel. Oh my god, I haven't tried that everything bagel yet.
Did you bring a damage machine by chance?
Yes.
You did?
Yeah. I have a square. There's caramel, there's butter flavor, everything bagel, sweet sriracha, lemon pepper dill. Yeah.
You got taste?
Oh, so there's like
Can I get one caramel and one sugar? Please help me to give Emily a very warm welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. So good to see everyone here. It's crazy. A year ago, I was sitting in federal prison in Kitchener. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning, and I'm sure some of it you'll be able to relate to at some point in your life and hopefully help you as well. It all happened really quick. So through my work, I get this email, and it's from a guy. He owns a car shop up in North York, and he's like, hey, like, I love what you do with your social media. Like, our car business really needs some help. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and so we absolutely like hit it off. We're not like romantic or anything, but we become really, really good friends. And then we eventually kind of develop a romantic relationship. So he comes over. It's the middle of the afternoon. He's like, I want to go on a trip with you. But there's just some work that I have to do when I'm down there. And I'm like, well, what do you mean some work? He's like, I have to bring some drugs back. And I was like, okay, no, absolutely not. Like, I love my passport. Like, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. He acted so ashamed and like so embarrassed. Then he asked me again at like 10:30 at night. He's like, no, I'm so sorry. Like, I even asked you this. Forgot I said anything about anything else. Like, let's just go on a trip, me and you. That's it. Like, don't worry about anything else. And I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, okay. He's like, okay, so send me your passport when you get home. I'm like, okay, like, cool, sounds good. Sent him a picture of it, and that picture of my passport didn't just go to him, it also went to some cartels. And so the third day comes around, and I'm like about to go down to the pool, and he's like, okay, well, don't go anywhere because you have to get in the car soon. I'm like, what do you mean I have to get in the car? And he's like, yeah, you're here to do work. Did you really think it was all just fun and games? We're here to work. And that's when he looked at me, and I knew he had this like look in his eye that he was not messing around. And if I didn't go, like, I had nowhere else to go. I was somewhere in St. Lucia in like a foreign country where I was pretty much at his mercy at this point. I sat in the car, didn't really look where I was going, and then they opened the door and we were at a house. Then there was like a couple people inside, and they're all very, very friendly. They're not like, you're doing this. They didn't hold a gun to my head. They're like, thank you so much for doing this for us. Ian told us that you're going to be, oh, that's really, anyway, they're like, Ian told us that you guys are helping us, whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I looked at him. He's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, that's when I knew that they had my ID. They understood that I was bringing drugs back. He was too. And that I wasn't getting out of it. Like, they had smiles on, they were nice then, but if I said no, that wasn't even an option. And so she like takes my measurements, like I'm getting fitted for like a prom dress or something. When we're sitting in the car, I have to sit in the middle. It's like there's one on each side now, so things are like it's all friendly, and then I can tell it's like getting a lot more serious now. Now we're on the plane. So we go through like the first departure, and we land, and I don't know how I'm supposed to act at this point. So now I'm trying to go through the security, and like you are supposed to walk up together, I guess, if you're a couple, but I didn't know this. This is another sign that like they're like, something's off here. There's like one last podium, and there's like one person there. And he looks at it and he's like, you're going this way. And I'm like, okay, this is it. And then they're like, oh, do you have drugs in your suitcase? And I said, no. And I thought I was gonna be able to leave, and then they looked at me and they're like, so Mr. Brien, like, we just gotta ask. Do you have drugs on you right now? And I was like, okay. Took 10 seconds to answer. And so I said, yeah. And they're like, yeah? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, get them off me. So get them off me. And so they put me in a holding cell, and he gets immediately arrested. They test the drugs, what they are, and I have 2.08 kilograms. And so after like 5 or 6 hours of being processed by first the CBSA, I get formally arrested by the RCMP. And I'm on the phone with like some lawyer, like I forgot, they're like, you can call this lawyer. And I'm like, okay, so when do I get to go home? Like, yeah, he said like he would handle it. You know, yeah, they're like, it doesn't work like that at all. And I seemed to find out that this was like one of the most serious offenses in the criminal code. And I was completely ignorant. And so I then get taken in handcuffs to the Peel police station where I have to wait overnight. Because I'm not going home. The guy on the phone was like, yeah, you're in a lot of shit. He actually said that. And I was like, okay, maybe for today, maybe not tomorrow. No, that didn't change the next day either. And I was taken to Vanier Correctional Center in Milton, and so there it's like all maximum security, and because I had a federal charge, I was automatically put in max on a range of like a lot of different people. There's definitely like a lot of drugs in there. There's not a lot of anything going on except for like tension, but luckily my cellmate, she was nice. She was actually someone that was really young, and it was really sad to see. And then so they're like, okay, your court's on Monday. I'm like, well, so am I coming back for that? Like, what do you mean court? I'm like, okay, yeah, no, your parents are the only ones, like you have to get an surety to bail you out. I'm like, okay, what's an surety? And my bail was set at $50,000. Yeah. So in our justice system, like you don't actually have to give $50,000. So my parents don't have $50,000. My parents, you know, help, like they have good jobs, but they don't just have piles of money like lying around. Like they put their money into like things, right? So it's definitely $50,000 is not something that they would just be like, oh, here, right? So how it worked is they had to like put up part of their assets, so part of the house. So they were on the hook for me now, and I was put on very strict conditions. Like I had to move out of Toronto. I was on house arrest. I didn't have to wear an ankle bracelet, but I had to have handwritten notes every single place that I went. My lawyer is actually a couple floors down from here, Rory Cornally. We've gotten a lot of fights. Definitely skipped some lawyers' meetings, but because I didn't understand. I was like, why do I have to come back from Toronto for like a half-hour meeting? And I was like, oh, anyway. When you don't understand something, it's like, it's really hard. It took me a long time to like actually forgive myself because I'd been harmed, right? So when you've been harmed, you think about revenge more than healing. And you think about revenge a lot more than forgiveness or the people that love you, as opposed to the person that harmed you. You're like so laser focused on like getting that person back. And that wasn't getting me anywhere. It was putting me in like a really toxic state of mind. But I also learned that he was going through something in his life, and like, I forgave him, but like a lot later on. After I went to prison, I realized why people do the things that they do. It's not often because you want to intentionally harm people. I mean, sometimes you do, but it's because you're in pain. So once I realized like his story or like to the extent that he told me, I was like, you know what? I don't have to like you, I don't have to talk to you, but I can forgive you so I can move on and like live peacefully. I knew I could do better, and so when I went to prison, I was like, I'm gonna make use of this situation and do something about it and not just like sit in here and feel sorry for myself. Because that's the story that you hear all the time, and I knew that wasn't my story. And when I got to prison, finally, after the judge was like, yep, 4 years, it was a joint submission. And so I'd studied the system at this point, finally. And now I realized I wouldn't actually be in prison for 4 years. I had a chance at day parole and full parole and what have you. So I was like, okay, I have about 10 months to kind of build something different and interesting. And I knew that I wasn't like someone that caused problems. Like I'm pretty personable, and I knew that I wasn't going into prison pretending to be like a gangster or like someone that was hard and like violent, because I was not. Like I was like, oh no, like I just like, want to get in and get out. But prison wasn't even like violent. Like there definitely was some violence, but like any culture, even out here, there's different subcultures, right? So I just didn't get involved in that, and like I didn't do any drugs when I was in there. And we were all having popcorn one night, and it was a Super Bowl party. It was very PG. It wasn't like, you know, pills or anything, but it was like pops and chips, and we were making popcorn. And we have access to a canteen account, so we use our own money to buy stuff from the canteen. And then we get like a weekly allowance for food in federal prison. So we can pick items from a list. And on that list is different spices. And so we were kind of having fun with different recipes. And I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, we're all in here for a reason, but we all have good intentions to get out. We all have good intentions to contribute again to society. And we all at some point in our lives have been misunderstood, have been harmed, and have needed a second chance and forgiveness. So I was like, why don't we make something out of that? And I was the one that was like, I was getting out first, but everyone supported me doing it. Like, a lot of people in prison are also mothers, like 80%. So when you leave, like you just want to see your kids. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna build this for not just me, but like for everyone that maybe goes through a difficult time and doesn't have the support or the resources or the voice or like the belief in themselves. So that's when the Constant Kernels was born, and it's a social enterprise. And so from that point on, it was about, I think I thought of it like 4 months in, and then I just built the business. So I like had my friends like print me out market trends from the computer and like mail them in. I read all these different books from the library, and I made like a little list. Like I could send you the links of like all the books that I read and exactly like how I built this business in prison for like under $100. But I wanted to give people that have criminal records like a second chance, like, or even a fair chance. Like if it wasn't for my like loving parents, like I would have sat in jail. And someone would have sat in jail for the exact same crime. So I know like my story would have been very different. And I kind of wanted to talk about like why it shouldn't be like that. Like obviously if you're gonna put someone in those situations, this is gonna cause more crime. If you're gonna take someone that's struggling and put them into an even more environment where they have to struggle again, guess what's gonna happen when you get out, right? So there's so many things that I think need to be changed and addressed. But the first one I wanted to take action and do myself, and that was by being like an inclusive employer. And also encouraging other employers to be like, okay, wait, this person has skills, this person that can be an asset to our business, and it actually helps society as well. Because all those myths you hear about people with records are just hearsay. It's like, oh, people with records like might steal, or like you want to make sure they're not like handling your money, or like since when? You know what I mean? Like everyone steals. Like I think we've all stolen at some point in our life. Doesn't mean you have to go to prison to steal. Like we've all like done things, sometimes stupidly, that we've regretted in the past. And so I was like, you know what, this is time to like kind of change the perception and change the stigma. And so yeah, that's kind of what I do now. And it's been great. It's been in business for almost a year. Yeah, so I have like three part-time employees now and a bunch of volunteers. And I also meet with employers now as well to try to get them to change their HR policies or to actively seek out people that have records. Because sometimes we're the most vulnerable.